That's interesting. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Jack Ramsays, Danny Marang, Brandon Sprague. Everything just kind of blew out on me there, so sorry about that. All of the volume, all of the settings completely reset. Brandon, you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, there you go. Shout out YouTube and Streamlabs for completely destroying everything in one fell swoop for me. So sorry if things are a little awry as we get started here. Let's try it again. Welcome to Jack Ramsays, Danny Marang, Brandon Sprague. Like, rate, review, subscribe, help us grow the show. It's been an interesting couple of days. I'll say that. The Portland
Man,
Trailblazers finished up the draft on Thursday night. Friday, things start happening. Saturday, we have the rookie introduction press conference. Things start percolating behind the scenes yesterday.
mm-hmm.
And then we get the G League announcement revealed today. We'll dive into that a little bit. And then obviously the Haynes tweet about the meeting. We heard about Sunday night behind the scenes that was probably going to happen. Dame got back into town just the other night. And from what I understand, the meeting has already taken place.
So could be a matter of minutes, hours, or a day or so before we get it leaked what their plan is.
It may not go public.
Sure.
We may wake up and there's a trade, and it may not be Damian Lillard. We may wake up and it's a trade, and it is Damian Lillard. So as things currently stand, nothing has gotten out as far as how things go. But considering where we are right now, I will say this is the closest we've ever come to the end of the Damian Lillard era. Like, there's been talks about stuff in the past of one way or another. This is, from my perspective, the closest it's ever been. How about you?
The one where Haynes had kind of alluded to this, and the report was that he went and had dinner with AD and LeBron at the roof. Like, I don't know if he ever wanted to go to the Lakers per se, and they were trying to persuade him to do it, but I think that was definitely a time where he got pretty close. This one, I would agree, feels the closest, just because I feel like the logical outcome of this is he gets traded. This is, for the people that watched our live watch party during the draft, this was why I felt how I felt. Like, I was separating Scoot from the situation. Like, Scoot is a prospect, Scoot is a player using the number 3 pick. Who you get for the number 3 pick, that was different. And I think the tough thing for many Blazer fans was the weird kind of like goodbye, hello moment that was for the franchise. And I know he hasn't demanded a trade yet as of 6/16 as we record this on a Monday. But I just think ultimately this move makes the most sense for both parties and probably has for a year now. But, they kind of made us believe they were going to do one thing, and they went the complete opposite way.
I will say this, and everybody's like, you're always soft on Cronin. Why you get him all a pass? I think the Blazers, Joe Cronin, and Chauncey Billups did a terrible job at the exit interviews.
To say the least.
They overpromised on something that they couldn't deliver on. Because if they were going to go, regardless of what happens here, regardless if Dame stays or goes, but I think they did way too much. Because you can't sit here and say that your fortunes changed by moving up 2 spots. You can't. Because if you told Damian Lillard back then, we're going to shut you down in hopes of getting better odds for this pick so we have a better chip to trade, that means you have a better chip to trade.
Mm-hmm.
That's the line for that. It can't go, well, we kind of really like Scoot. That's not how this works. If you weren't going to do that, then don't go down that path. Say, at exit interviews, we'd really like to do building around Damian Lillard. We're going to take a look at it and evaluate what's best for the organization going forward. What's best for Dame going forward. Maybe you take an arrow then. Maybe. But then there's not the ramp up.
No.
And that's the thing. Every way that I look at this leads me to believe Damian Lillard is gone. Period, point blank. What about you?
I mean, so like, there's a very reasonable conversation, argument, debate, whatever you want to frame it as to why you use the 3 pick. I mean, Ben Golliver, you know Ben Golliver very well.
Mm-hmm.
He came on a radio show and he's like, you got to use this pick. You don't get these. Getting talent in Portland via free agency is not really a thing. And unless you willing to kind of pay an overprice for a trade, it's just really tough as well. I heard Russillo say something to that effect. Like, you just look through the history of trades. There's like the number 3 pick doesn't get traded very often. And I think Joe Cronin and that staff said, this is rare. We have to use the opportunity. But this is the problem with that. It's not the actual using of the pick. It's the misconception of what they were going to do. Yeah, it was. And by the way, I'll go deeper. It wasn't exit interviews, man. It was last summer. He was on our podcast. He's done multiple radio shows. He is basically brought up on his own the 2 timelines thing, and looked us straight in the eye. And like, yeah, we understand that this isn't really a path that's logical, and you have to choose a direction. And we hope to do that. We don't want to do this that long. And now we're hearing thread the needle. And I think to take the fans, the media that he talked to, and the letter O himself, and like made you kind of believe that like, I really might go get another dude. And then to show zero indication of getting another dude. Like, we'll get into some free agency stuff here a little tonight, but I've been worried about this since last Monday, of just like, this is not going to happen the way I think it's going to happen. Once again, Charlie Brown with the football. There goes Lucy pulling it away as we go to kick it, and we fall on our ass. So to me, it's not about the player or using the actual pick. It's the total Omaha he pulled and acting like he was going to call a play, and then pivoting out and doing an entirely different thing the whole time.
Again, health of the franchise stuff. Like, I got to think that Dame, if he decides that this isn't for him, that this isn't his path, as he said, if he goes this way, I don't think he holds any ill will towards the organization. I don't think he's mad or frustrated. He's looking at it in the sense of they decided to go a different path. And because Dame said that. I mean, he said that at the exit interviews.
That's fine. That's good. I love to hear that. That means he's going to be an easy retire Blazer guy. But like, I'll play Dame for a second here in the scenario. I think he has a right to be.
Oh, certainly. I'm not going to disagree with that at all. Not one bit.
They pivoted this year, but like, really, I would argue they pivoted last year. They just didn't want to say it out loud. And throughout this whole process, I think this is the weird thing is, it's been like, you asked him straight up at that press conference post the draft, how is Scoot going to play with these 4 dudes?
He didn't have an answer.
He couldn't answer the question, because I honestly, if you were playing like body language doctor, there was a real vibe of guy wants to say, I'm going a different direction, but I'm not publicly saying it.
Yeah.
And I think, that's the tough thing with this is.
And
like,
again, you can make the argument that for the health of the organization,
yes,
that's a more viable path. It's a safer path. I get all of that. I'm not arguing against that, no.
People wouldn't be mad at that.
Nope.
This was about what we heard, what we were told, and everything they've done since saying it. And it's been the opposite. So that's what people are mad about. Like, we don't want to lose Dame, but God, I can't blame him if he ends up asking out.
And not to belabor all of this. Like, we didn't get here because Joe Cronin failed on draft night. We got here because Neil Olshey botched it for 9 years. Chris Lucia had a tweet earlier that listed all of the players Damian Lillard has played with by minutes or games played. Mm-hmm. It is the saddest goddamn list I have ever seen. It is absolutely, unequivocally fucking awful. Mm-hmm. LaMarcus Aldridge is the only all-star he's ever played with. And if any of you say Carmelo Anthony, I will load you in a cannon and shoot you into the goddamn sun. It is absolutely atrocious. The lack of help that he has had. If you go look, you know what? Screw it. Let's do this live as an exercise. Okay. Pick a year, Brandon, between 2015 and 2022.
2016.
Okay. Let's go look at 2016 All-NBA players. Mm-hmm. Let's go take a look at the All-NBA teams in that season. Giannis, Tatum, Embiid. Oh no, so this is this year. God dang it! Let me scroll. Oh, it's a scroll down. God, I hate how they do that to optimize the search freaking list. Stupid thing. Okay, 16, 17. LeBron, Kawhi, AD, Harden, Westbrook, Giannis, KD, Gobert, Curry, Isaiah Thomas, Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler, DeAndre Jordan, John Wall, DeMar DeRozan. Every single player here. Every single player here. All of them have had an all-star or all-NBA teammate or have had multiple picks traded for that. Mm-hmm. All of them. Mm-hmm. Let's go down the list. LeBron James, how many has he had? Kawhi Leonard, how many has he had? Anthony Davis, how many has he had? James Harden, Jesus Christ. Russell Westbrook, holy hell. Giannis, okay. Kevin Durant, Rudy Gobert. Mm-hmm. Rudy Gobert.
Yep.
Has had better help than Damian Lillard.
Well,
Steph
they hit
Curry
on their draft in 17, and we chose Zach Collins. So, we would have had it because Bam would have been here, or whatever.
Or Donovan.
Or Donovan himself. Yeah, that could have been.
Isaiah Thomas. Draymond Green. Mm-hmm. Jimmy Butler. DeAndre Jordan. Yeah. John Wall. DeMar DeRozan. I can play this game with literally every All-NBA list.
I would have never, by the way, guessed DeAndre Jordan was an All-NBA player at one point in his career.
And he played with two of them.
I know, but I blanked that he made it himself.
I can do that with every single year.
I mean, I'm trying to think of the most recent player that would fall into this category.
I can't think of anybody else but Dame.
Ja? Be Ja, right?
No, Jaren made All-Star. He was an All-Star this year.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I can't come off on the top of my head.
Shit, Lucas had Porzingis and Kyrie.
Within a year. Yeah, Porzingis, they went to the offseason, traded his ass, brought in Kyrie the next year for desperation. Yeah, it's...
Again, I think Joe and Chauncey oversold this. I think that was a bit of a mistake.
I would say that, I'll go a little further. That was more than a bit of a mistake.
That's fair.
If you came into a room and they were like, Brandon, we kind of think this needs to be restarted, but, Dame is Dame, and we understand the connection. How do we set this up? I would just be like, yo, fans are not going to be happy no matter what you're saying about trading Damian Lillard, but they'll at least eventually appreciate honesty. And if you thought 2 years ago that this team probably should have been dismantled, I would imagine from a Dame perspective, you'd be thinking, why didn't you just do it then? Why make me believe we're doing something that we're not wholeheartedly doing? That's where the frustration really lies right now. It's not even so much the situation, which does suck. It's the misguiding and getting people like you and I to talk about, is Jaylen Brown? What about Zion? The reality is this. It was never a consideration. It was never a serious thought for them to trade 3, and I'll take that a step further. I don't think it's a serious thought for them to have considered even trading 23. I think they've known what they wanted to do, and they just don't want to publicly say it because it's not as exciting to say, rebuild, tank, get young guys, see what happens.
I'd push back on the 23 part a little bit.
But he said they got calls. And Chris Murray might be a good NBA player, but if you care about winning with Dame, aren't you have to move that pick to help Dame.
The thing about this is I don't think that that's enough.
Oh, I don't think it is either.
Moving 23 screams Neil Olshey. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, dude, I agree with you, but Neil would do that, right? Say what you want, and I'm not a big fan at all. The fringe move to keep the team at the 8th seed was his specialty. This team hasn't even made the playoffs in 2 years. So it's I hear an argument for it if you're saying we're going youth, then yeah, keep the pick, use it, get Chris Murray. But if you're telling me you're building with Dame, go get – you couldn't have packaged something to get John Collins? Utah got him for $1.85 today.
Because he was – $26 million expiring or salary
cap.
Yeah.
Right, for sure.
I'm
just saying even if it's not that example, move it. Show some indication. There's zero indication, which, you know.
I saw a question here. So the leak that the Raptors said no to 3 and Anthony is fake. I've never heard that it was ever on offer to Toronto, because I don't think that Portland was ever that interested in Pascal Siakam. And you saw why, as his agent was putting it out there through Chris Haynes, that he was not going to re-sign anywhere. So, and beyond that, I don't think the Blazers really rate Pascal Siakam all that much better than Jeremy Grant.
Really?
Yeah. Like,
wow.
Well, the thing is, like, if you get Pascal and Jeremy, you're getting a guy who's better than Jeremy, but not worlds better, who's going to cost you $20 million more, and they play the same position. So you're not optimizing another guy on top of it. It's like
you got to go into like roster consideration there of like, do you just trade Jeremy, or do you just let him go and say we lost the asset?
And
if you were kicking the Pascal thing.
I mean, that's egregious. You're spending $20 million more to let a guy walk. That's insane roster management.
I mean, Danny, they drafted a point guard with a 33-year-old point guard. And by the way, if he asks out, you think Jeremy Grant's coming here?
No, I don't. For everybody, for everybody who's sitting here going, well, Jeremy would take a sign and trade to get that 5th year. Why? What team wants him to do that? Every team right now is looking at like, we don't want to hand out a 5th year to anybody.
Yeah.
Because you want shorter term money.
Yep. So you can be flexible.
And it takes away from that other team. Like, it would be great if Jeremy did leave and they did get a sign and trade out of it. I'm not anticipating that. And the thing is, like, I don't think Joe Cronin didn't try. I know they offered up a lot for McHale on deadline night. And they came back again and tried to get McHale. I think they just had a very, very narrow view of exactly what they wanted in return. I know of 2 other teams that called and asked about 3. And I was told that the asks were incredibly high. So it is what it is. And I don't mean this to be as a downer. I'm just trying to like frame where we are right now, how we got here. And I know I'm probably missing a ton of like, chipper energy. I'm exhausted. I literally hopped off the bike directly into here. I am gassed. But the
team's not in a great position. Like, let's not act like we need to be happy, smiling right now. The team's in a really weird spot.
I said this, what was it, 2 weeks ago? Pick a path. That's why I'm not necessarily mad, is that they appear to have picked a path.
Oh, they picked a path. Yeah, they're acting like they're walking down the other one.
It's a little bit of cake and eat it too.
100% it is. You need to trade him. Like, I hate saying that out loud. I love that dude. I never wanted to see him be traded. That's why I tweeted today, expect the worst. Like, I know it doesn't make sense to stay here. I don't want to see him get traded.
If he stays, I will be surprised.
Great. I don't know what to think anymore. I think a lot of this is like, it's been so much noise for 4 years now that I'm kind of just like done with. I'm so done caring.
Yes.
I just get it done. Rip the goddamn.
Well, the thing is, this is the first time it's ever been real. That's the thing. One could argue that maybe they should have done this when Neil got fired.
Yes.
Like, if you were going to go down this path, you know?
Yeah. I mean, once you hit the tank the first year, which that's the right move, right? This is simply a hunch. There's zero information here. I feel like that was it for them. They're like, man, we got Shaden. What else can we get? And then like, oh, we got Jeremy Grant and Nurk is coming back. And maybe, it didn't work. Okay, great. Let's get back in the draft. And it was like, we got number 3. We got 23. We've got a second. And I kind of feel like they knew what they wanted to do. But again, just acting like you're doing something when you're doing the opposite.
I'm not trying to dash people's hopes in the comments. Keep all your hope. Don't let me try to change. I'm just telling you what I think and what I have kind of garnered from what's out there and who I've talked to. But I'm just going to tell you this. Dame and Scoot cannot play together. They cannot play together. Anybody telling you that is taking you for a fool. That's period, point blank.
I had a very lengthy text back and forth this weekend with somebody.
Saying that they can play together?
Yes.
They cannot play together.
Admitting those, like, a little bit of the rose-colored glasses here, but yeah, I tend that this is why I felt how I felt on draft night, man. Don't make sense to me, so.
Let's get into some of the questions here. This from Hodgepodge. Sorry, Amar. Amar Greenberg. Any Scuttlebuck, Ari, any possible Ant or Nurks trade if the teams try to keep Dame? Any word on locking picks from Chicago? But also mostly, why, God, why? All of my intel as it pertains to free agency was based on the presumption of moves that might come. And those moves were building around Damian Lillard. Mm-hmm. Most of the people that I talked to, agents, players, executives, all believed that something was going to happen somewhere along the way. And that if this, then this, if this, then this kind of a situation. So I had a general idea of like which way they were probably leaning with certain guys. If Dame's out, gone. All that stuff doesn't matter. And the ability to get guys who would want to play with Dame, gone. The ability to get guys that like want to be on a winning team, gone. The ability to go get veterans who make a difference, gone. What you're going to get are projects, salary dumps, and money chasers. That's what it is. You're not getting stuff like go look at the back of the rosters for the Rockets, for the Pistons, for the Wizards, for the Spurs. You don't get valuable impact guys. You might get one. You might get one guy. You might get a Doug McBuckets, a little McDermott action. Mm-hmm. You might get a Harrison Barnes if Sacramento goes and spends $30 million on Kyle Kuzma and there's no landing spot for Harrison Barnes. He likes MLE money. He's a good dude. He's a solid vet. But that's what you're getting.
Duncan Robinson.
I hate you so much.
We should play the song now. And by the way, man, I'm glad I caught that IG live and noticed what everybody else noticed and went, that's a weird accident.
I was told that there was a group in the building that saw Dame and went to the DJ and trolled.
I'm not buying it because the second video after the Miami thing, he lost connection. He reloaded live 10, 20 minutes later. He was at a table. And the first two songs that played on that video were I Want to Dance with Somebody.
Yes.
And the whole table kept going, heat, heat, heat. I want to feel the heat with somebody. Yes. And then the next song was You're the One That I Want from Greece.
Yes, like I said.
I don't believe in those accidents. That's okay.
No, somebody was trolling.
His table was going with it, so I think there's an element to admit here, and I text this with somebody that I respect a great deal. He's a wrestling fan. It's
going full heel.
Come on, man. You can't be rolling around and answering questions about like, hey, what cities would you like to play? Well, Miami and Brooklyn. Like, you answer those questions, there's gonna be a follow-up by
I mean, he's literally answered it before.
No, I know, but he stacked them, he powering. I'm just saying, like, every time
he did this before. No, I'm going to shut you down because he's done this about 30 times in his career.
That's my point.
But like everybody's acting like it's. If you ask the man a question, he'll answer it. Always has, always will.
I appreciate that about him. It's not even a shot. It's admitting that, like, sometimes guys like to be talked about. Sometimes guys enjoy the theater of what this is.
Sure, that's fine. But
he's a showman. He's a performer.
I also don't think that he gets into the IG cryptic stuff either.
I just, how many times does the song Miami get played, man? I don't know.
I'm literally telling you, somebody went over to the DJ.
I mean, you're telling me, but that don't mean I got to believe what somebody told you. I think he's a performer. It's not a big deal. I don't think that's an accident.
All right. But as far as other trades, listen, if Dame's gone, Jeremy's likely gone. If Jeremy's likely gone, Nurk's probably gone. And if they're gone, Ant's entering his prime. Why would he want to be here? I bet you he probably looked to get out of here too. When I say that this team is going to suck, they're going to suck. Everybody's like, oh, no, they'll figure it out. Scoot and Shade. I'm okay. I think they'll both be good players. I do. But, buddy, one of them better be an MVP.
It takes 4 to 5 years for these situations to be good. Usually, in most instances.
It's tough, man.
Like,
it's
how
tough.
many years in did Giannis, Danny, you think, take that step?
It
5,
was
6?
year 5 or 6.
Okay. And, like, you could say, well, Giannis is different. Like, kind of. He was raw when he came in. Scoot, by every account, is a good basketball player, but he's raw in a lot of areas. He's 19 years old. He should be. Like, it wouldn't be normal to come in and be LeBron James. That's not normal. Kobe Bryant was, averaging like 6 points a game for the first 2 years of his career. This is tough. I'm more worried, Danny, I'd say I'm more worried about, like, the idea that if this happens, first of all, losing him is just, like, in itself a podcast of holy crap. But, like, if you lose Ant and Nurk and all this other stuff, some of those guys have to be traded. It almost feels like you're leveraged, like you're not getting $1 on your dollar. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Sure.
You're settling for a trade with a hypothetical Ant. You're given 75 cents of the dollar. Hey, take this and this, and we'll take him. And you're like, well, and I hope I'm wrong on most of this stuff, but if he leaves and you're indicating like that could happen, I don't know if that's great for Portland.
I might have to step out for a phone call here in just a second. Well, we'll keep going. But Connor Strong, at Connor_Strong. When a rebuild is initiated, will Ant stay or is he gone regardless, whether it's for a game-changing player with Dame or just future picks of young guys without Dame? Getting a lot of those. I'm confused about the timeline for trades if we keep Dame and we want to get those deals done this week before free agency or wait until free agency begins. Also, how the new CBA factor into the timeline. I think everything you're looking at right now is predicated on what happened out of this meeting today. So, can you hold this for about 5 minutes? I actually have to take this. Sorry. This is, yeah.
Okay. All right. It's probably me. To be honest with you, it's probably me getting yelled at because some music played in an Instagram video. I thought it was kind of funny, to be personally honest. I was texting people like, yo, can you believe that played right now? And then the Jimmy thing comes out on IG, and Jimmy's listening to a song, and I'm like, oh, here we go. But, you know, I think that's the weird thing about, I mean, it's weird in general that he just got up and left, but, like, I think that's the weird thing about all this stuff is just, like, it's such a different position than the franchise was talking about being in. What? 2 months ago, 3 months ago? Like, those exit interviews happen, and we're all under this assumption that, like, oh, they're going to go make that big move, and then we're doing the draft, the draft lottery, and it's like ping pong ball. Oh, they're not 5. Oh, they're not 4. Oh, my God, they got to 3. Places going nuts. It's bedlam. We find out how close they were to Wemby. You're one number off of getting Wemby. You get Wemby, you're not in this situation. That's the craziest thing about it.
Brandon, I'm going to cut you off.
One number difference.
Statement from General Manager Joe Cronin. I met with Dame and Aaron Goodwin this afternoon. We had a great dialogue. We remain committed to building a winner around Damian Lillard.
Okay. I mean, good luck with that. I mean, so I wonder, okay, so there's 2 scenarios here. This is either come and get him or making a ginormous trade. And that would involve the player they just drafted that they just said they were excited for to see at Summer League. Which at this point, to make the trade at this point would be pretty late, but especially with Summer League like a week away. But it probably feels like the other side.
Interesting, for sure. Sorry,
I'm glad this hit us live on the.
Yeah,
on
I got to
the
put
spot.
this out. Yeah, no, that's why I made sure. That's why I was like, I need to take the call.
Wow, podcast history, breaking news in the middle of the pod like this. Franchise changing type of stuff here. And now I'm just curious, like, so we had a great dialogue. Dame told me what he thought. We remain committed to building a winner around it. Well, we remain committed until we're no longer committed. I have no desire to trade Damian Lillard, but that doesn't necessarily mean it won't happen.
I'm trying to process everything in my head.
No,
right
that's
now.
fine. You're just leaving me out to look like the idiot.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. It's pretty big news, man. We were hoping something would come out by the time we started the pod. I just didn't know it'd be in the middle of the pod.
For those wondering,
Now I'm waiting for the Haynes tweet. Let's just be honest.
For those wondering, we were going to do a pod yesterday, and I told Brandon, let's not. Let's not. Because I got an idea that meeting was coming, and I didn't want to do a pod that might turn sideways the second we did it. Yeah,
That's an odd statement. That's an odd statement, is what I said.
It's not the statement it is the statement I expected. It means to me there's two things.
Okay.
Your two paths is this. Either they came to a realization. I guess it's three things. They came to a realization that there's no trade that works right now. They came to a realization that they will work towards an amenable trade. Or three, they came to... I guess there's four. God, I just keep going. They found a deal. Or they have a deal. That makes sense. Or they're kind of trying to drag this out and see. And this is just posturing.
I'm going to choose the last option there. I just don't know. I don't know, without being the most informed person in the NBA, like, what's the trade? Like, is DeMar DeRozan seriously going to stop him from being here and still playing with 19 and 20-year-olds? Like, that's not a contending team, man. I just don't know. Unless something randomly busts out of left field with a player nobody's talking about yet. Like, I don't know who that is right now on the market. So, Utah, Brooklyn, Miami, like, put an ante in.
I'm still trying to process everything. It's interesting that the Blazers statement is out and there's nothing from Aaron Goodwin or Chris Haynes. That's the interesting thing about this, is that everything here screams it's amenable. Whether that's staying or going. Either we're working with you to get you somewhere, or you're in on what we're doing. I still do not believe that there is a single way that Dame and Scoot can play together.
Mm-hmm.
But Chris is in the comment says, y'all are reading too much into it. You read enough GM speak, and you trust me. You know what is actually being...
How are you not reading into this?
Yeah. You know what's being said.
Do you know how this league operates? You have to read into almost everything, man. That's why there's so many crazy conspiracies in the NBA. But yeah, I don't know. Posturing's a good thing. I mean, everybody right now is waiting for the Haynes tweet. I mean, and I think Chris would be smart enough to understand that. So maybe there's something to be coming here in the next 15 to 20 minutes. I don't know, but he's just really not going to say anything, and the team's just going to be like, yo, Joe believes in building with Dame. And he's just, I mean, maybe he's cool with that because he wants to stay. I don't know anymore, man. This is a really weird thing. I thought Pablo Torre had a hell of a tweet today, basically like this is a weird ass relationship. Where
I didn't see that, but that makes sense.
We know what one guy wants, and the team he's on is not doing it, and so it's like, it's just such an odd thing to deal with right now.
At Dirty Blazers fan, I'm concerned the Blazers are about to trade Ant to appease Dame for Dame to be traded at the deadline. If Dame makes it to the start of the season, do you think Dame will play the whole season? If Damian Lillard is here, and all four of those guys are here, Dame, Ant, Sharp, Scoot, somebody's got to go. Like, period, point blank. That's what it is. What it is.
I mean, but here's the one thing I know: like the Ant seems to be the odd man out for everybody's scenarios here, right?
Which is weird because like between those guys, he's the only like quasi two. Like Shaden's like more undersized 3. You know what I mean? As far as like his game.
Well, this is the weird thing about that. I think the Dame trade's still very much alive. We'll see. Maybe we'll get different information. They just signed Ant. The Warriors traded Jordan Poole because Jordan Poole was not liked or respected in that locker room. They wanted to get out of that salary. That's why they gave him up for a 38-year-old point guard who's going to play the second point guard.
They were done with him.
Done. And by the way, they're going to get Draymond back. So there's any questions about Draymond, I don't think it's happening. Ant doesn't have this reputation. It's why I've gotten weird. I've gotten super weird, Daniel. If Dame doesn't ask out, I won't be shocked at all. Because are they going to give the asset away? They don't show any position of wanting to do that. I think they value him. He can handle the rock and score.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you roll into camp with 4 dudes, but I just don't know what the trade is. That's the tough thing with all this is we're talking about trades. Like, okay, then what's the trade for a 23-year-old point guard who can shoot 40% from 3 on a very team-friendly contract? Like, that shouldn't just be a giveawayable asset.
Somebody asks us, wait, was it Hyken who called you? No. It was somebody within the Blazers.
Remains committed to build a win around him is basically sounding this. I'm probably going to change my opinion 8 different times, Danny. Dame walks out and goes,
when presented with new information, that's what it goes. That's how you do it.
I think it's like there's a real feel of, all right, I'm going to give it 24 hours to get back to you guys, leaving a meeting, and the Blazers are like, yo, let's put out publicly, we remain committed, though.
What's funny is that statement can mean both we're going to make a deal to stay with him, and also we will explore all opportunities. Somebody's asking if I'm okay. Yeah, no, I'm literally going through the things in my head. So sorry if I'm kind of like out of it. I'm trying to process through everything.
The recent history would suggest the latter there, right?
I mean, yes. Alex asks, are we optimistic? No. Question and proven until otherwise.
Mm.
You know? Assure but verify. It's look, and again, I'm not going to tell you to not hope. But you know, it's kind of one of those situations.
God, what I would give for a Haynes tweet that says the exact opposite of that Blazer statement.
Just the chaos grenade. Oh, you think so? You dedicated this?
More for the comedic effect, like, because that would basically sum it up, right? We're going to build around Dame. We're going to get veteran guys. We're going to get bigger and older. We're going to keep drafting 19 and 20-year-olds that aren't quite ready to lead to championships. Like, it would just be so funny to end that way. Like, we're doing the opposite of what we're saying with Dame, and then we're saying we're still building with Dame, and Dame goes, nah, I'm done. I'm out. Be awful, but it'd be for comedic effect. Great.
It's all very, very, very interesting.
Okay, so I give you $1,000 cash, right? That's a decent amount. And you have 2 things here. You believe that statement says they're going to make a trade of actual substance that will convince Dame to stay.
Whatever the other thing is, I'm putting the money on that.
Okay.
Because the default is, and how many times have I said this, Brandon? Jesus Christ. The default is always on the trade not being made. Because it's not just what you want.
Oh, yeah, there's 2 teams. And we pay a premium here. Like every report of the trades for the number 3 pick from a national outside of Portland, Oregon perspective, where you have to give up 3 and Ant for fill in the blank. And like around here, it was like, we're going to get 3, the other guy, and their stuff. And it's like, Portland doesn't have that much history with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Haynes put out the same statement that I got before him. Weird.
I just want this to end.
It's the saga that never ends.
Brother, as a child of 2 divorces, this is terrible to go through.
Like, you just want it over?
Oh, man, let me tell you, the first one was over quick. The second one was like 10 years of hell. And I was the child. Like, it's just, get this over with, man.
Yeah. I don't have, I've experienced a lot of shitty things in life. I don't have any experience with that one. But I'm looking at all these questions, and almost all of them are like, you know what? Here's a good question. Garrett at G Newton 32. If Morey thinks Allen Mobley in a first is value for Tobias Harris, what do you all believe value is for Ant and or Nurk? Send
no
Nurk.
way that report was true.
I've heard otherwise.
You think he really thought he could get Mobley?
I don't think he thought that. I think that was his way of telling him to get bent.
Wow.
But in this world, Nurk is worth Wendell Carter and Jonathan Isaac. Maybe a first. On this sliding scale. Ant, Zach LaVine, and Patrick Williams. That's where I'm sitting. Trying to think what else. Those will both work. Does the Draymond thing have any more legs? I have not heard a word about Dre. The Blazers
Jordan Poole trade, I just feel like was the nail in that coffin.
Yeah. The consensus seems to be generally that Dre is likely to go back to Golden State. I will say this. The likelihood that things have kind of gone into a situation trying to say this without saying too much. Screw it. I look at it this way. Where the Blazers are right now is if there's any daylight here, it's that the Blazers have like 72 hours to figure it out.
Why 72 hours?
I'm putting an arbitrary timeline on it.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Like I'm saying, like they have a couple days to figure this out. That's it. Like, we'll give you, like we remain committed to building a win around Dame. Like that to me says, okay, one final chance. You've got till free agency to figure this out, which is, what day is today? 4 days. Can you put a deal together in 4 days? Are you willing? Like, are you willing to include a pound of flesh?
A pound of flesh to me ain't Ant. I'm talking about Shaden or Scoot.
Oh, I mean,
that's what this is about.
Scoot's the pound of flesh. It always was. It always has been.
Sure.
God, they really kicked this goddamn can one more time.
I mean, Danny, we cannot be surprised by that. The can has been kicked so long that I'm like, if I don't hear the can being kicked, I'm like, what happened? Is this the quiet place?
It's just... I don't know. I gotta make some phone calls. I know that much. I wish I had. I wish I had. Yeah, no. I wish I had. Like everything that I had to go through and talk through has been kicked down the road for I don't know how many days. That's the way I look at this now. It's either that or they're trying to find an amenable trade for him. I think those are the only.
Bro, I'm not buying it.
Paths that we're walking down.
Mom and dad are sleeping in separate rooms, but we're still trying to make it work, kids. Yeah, well, Johnny's parents did that.
Go ahead.
And what happened, Dad?
Go cook.
I mean, I've seen this. I have a white trash family, bro. This was my DNA. Like, I grew up with this environment. I know what this is. This is like, we know what you want. Just separate. The kids aren't 10 anymore. We're all 22.
Woohoo, purgatory, sweet purgatory.
Oh, my God. Unbelievable.
Oh, God. Poor Johnny's
The only
parents.
thing to make up for this is if Dame is staying in this somehow chaotic, dumb situation, he has to go on IG Live and play an Amine song. Like, he has to make... We need a Cool Nuts track playing in the background. There's gotta be...
Everclear? Some Art Alexakis going in the background.
Just give me something.
I bet you if I text Dame right now, he wouldn't know who that was.
Probably not.
I'd be willing to bet that $1,000 that you just gave me. Like, I don't even know what to do right now. I'll be honest. Like, that literally just was like, oh, those things are running smoothly right now and a path is being chosen. Let me go ahead and throw a wrench into those gears. You know?
Well, I know you want to get some information, so let's just pause the pod.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get anything else productive out of today.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's gonna be at all. I don't. I've already stepped in it 19 different times in this podcast just with emotion. I don't think I want to keep going.
You don't want to give it a few more minutes to have your heart ripped out?
No, bro. It's such a messy. And I'll be honest with you, for one of the first times in a while, like this franchise is now being looked at by the league as like, ugh, that shit is disgusting. What's going on over there?
Oh, but I've been getting texts and DMs of like, yo, what the fuck is going on over there since I tweeted it out. Like, from around the league. If you've seen me glance over here about 47 times, it's because my DMs are open and they're just filling with people going, dude.
Accept your lot in life, man. Even Ned Stark was like, all right, chop my head off.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
I can just be done with it.
I'm not going to win this argument. You're King Joffrey. You've made your decision. My daughter's looked the other way. It'd be a clean cut anyway, right? Won't even feel a thing. It just happened before you even know it. I love the irony, by the way, of all this happening. The irony of that franchise today just deciding that they were going to change the graphics on the Moda. And so we're taking Dame off the glass. That's just such bad timing of all of it.
It's normal timing for it, but people are like, oh my God, they're taking him down.
I know. Before they've even told him they're taking his sticker off.
Yeah. So we'll wrap it up here. Thank you all so much. Here's the thing. If we get news one way or the other, we will have an emergency podcast. That will absolutely happen. If not, shoot for Thursday for our actual mailbag pod.
Yes.
If you are a fan of the show and you happen to stumble down to Langdon Farms Golf Club tomorrow, come on down. Come say hi.
Hey, what's up?
I will be the guy that they find in the bunker.
You and I will be taking turns with our shows on one of the holes, the par threes. At Langdon, it's the volcano hole.
Yeah, you taking our shots, right?
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to let us hit them because we're not great golfers, but if you want to have fun and see how bad we are, you can say what's up, and then we'll
especially later in the day when they put me out there the second time.
Yeah, she does. That hole-in-one doesn't count if you hit one.
Why not?
Because it ain't your round.
Oh, shut up.
Just saying.
I will grab my cell phone and I will run out like it's mine.
I actually might kick off tomorrow's show talking about that. I've been thinking about it for a week. It's like, what if I got one randomly? It wouldn't count, right?
I'd give it to you.
Okay. Well, it wasn't my round, so.
I'll give it to you. Like, rate, review, subscribe, help us grow the show. You can find us on social media at Brandon Sprague, at Danny Marang, at Jack Ramsays. Email the show, jackramsays@gmail.com. Josh Goodenbaugh says, can't wait for breaking news as Danny is laying in a bunker. Oh, that breaking news is going to be... I think there's a trade.
Danny Marang here.
Yeah.
1080 the Ramsays.
I'm going to get all of the mojitos. That's what's going to happen tomorrow. So everybody,
all at the draft.
I had some of them. It's a good time. Again, thank you all so much. Blew past 5,000. To everybody who came to the film watch party of the day, thank you. It was awesome. We'll do more and more of those on the Patreon. I was going to write tonight. Maybe I will write. I don't know.
If I was you, I'm not saying what to do on your Patreon, but like probably a lot of stuff you need to talk about with people.
There's a lot of things rattling in my head that I may just use it as a notepad for tonight, then do a note stump. But everybody have a wonderful, wonderful night. Take care, talk soon, and we will catch you at least on Thursday, and if not sooner, if something happens before then. Until then, bye.